All right, welcome into the 5 Reasons YouTube channel and to Before Floor, an extension of 5 on the Floor here on the 5 Reasons, again, Sports YouTube channel. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick. 5 Reasons Sports. We got Greg Sylvander. Follow Greg Sylvander. We got Tony Schwartz. You can follow Tony Schwartz NBA. Jonathan Romlican, three-piece combo, and Brady Hawk at Brady Hawk 305. We're sponsored, as always, by our friends over at Biscayne Bay Brewing. If you're in the arena tonight, if you're headed that way, because I'm assuming most of you are going to be late, check out the 100 level or the 300 level kiosks. You can get your Tropical Bay IPA there, and if you go to supermarkets in South Florida, like Whole Foods, Publix, Winn-Dixie, you can get all of the other types of Biscayne Bay brew. They've got several different varieties, including the Marlins Lager, Pastime Pilsner, and again, others. Also, you get it at local restaurants like Quarterdeck, which allows me to announce we're going to be having another watch party Monday night. Heat Boston, Quarterdeck Davy, outdoor porch. I mean, unless basically we're frozen over by then, in which case we might move it inside, because this is just completely inhumane that it's going to get down to the 40s here this weekend. I don't know exactly how we're going to survive it, but check that out on Monday night. Also, markbrownpa.com, our good friend. Check him out if you're trying to build an estate plan. Basically, you want to sit down with somebody and talk about where your finances should go if something should happen to you or to somebody else that you know. 954-566-5678. It's the phone number to call, 954-566-5678. Also got title company right there in-house. So he is an expert on real estate and everything else. And so he can help you divest your real estate, which is certainly helpful in those type of situations. And he can help you with your closing if you're just selling property. So it's 954-566-5678, based right in North Lauderdale, just north of Cypress Creek off of Andrews. If you went to Pinecrest, as I did, it's very close to Pinecrest School in North Lauderdale. All right, let's get to it. We got Brady at the arena tonight, and we also Alex is going to be there as well. Who's in, who's out?
Yeah, no really big changes. The only one, Jimmy Butler. Spoelstra said he will warm up with the intention to play, so his left big toe must not be too irritated. So he's playing in this one. They can go about the rotation pretty similarly. I don't expect any big changes. I think Gabe stays in the starting lineup, obviously, while Lowry's out. And they have a pretty strong four off the bench, obviously, that we know of.
Okay. Kyle Lowry, by the way, I just tweeted this again. I said it on Starting Nine on Wednesday. We know why he's out, and so we're not going to talk about why he's out, except to say it's a personal matter, and there's no dispute with the team, and there's no injury. So I'm just trying to cut back on the wild speculation here. If you're familiar, the Heat had a similar situation a couple of years ago, and we handled it the exact same way. So when he or the Heat are ready to talk about it, they will talk about it. There is no timetable that I know of, and I'm going to move on from there. All right, Greg, Clippers in tonight. No Kawhi, no Paul George. We have seen the Heat play down to competition in recent times. This is a team that came back from 35 down against Washington the other night, and we discovered that Wizards fans exist, which is maybe the greatest accomplishment in Clippers history, actually. But how do you handle a team like this, where again you don't know necessarily where the scoring is going to come from, but guys like Reggie Jackson have played well against the Heat in the past. They still have Amir Coffey. They still have some players there.
Yeah, you mentioned all the guys in the building. Let's not forget Nekias Duncan is in the building as well. As I watched the Fanalist interview, I heard there was a little shot there that he was in the building. So Brady, if you see Nekias, tell him I said what's up. This Clippers team scares the hell out of me, because they've not just beat the Warriors and came back by a bunch of points, but I think in the last, bear with me here, 3 times in the past 2 weeks, they've came back from a deficit of 24 or more. So no matter how much the Heat get up by tonight, we need to, I don't know when we need to crank up Pepas, but not until we know that the game is in completely in Miami's hands. But truthfully, I do expect them to win. Jimmy or no Jimmy, I expected them to win. I think that this is a game that perfect opportunity for Tyler and Duncan to keep it rolling. Expect Bam Adebayo to have a big say in this one. And I really don't see any way the Heat don't get a victory here. I think tomorrow night will be a lot more of a challenge to get. But these first ends of the back-to-backs, they tend to get those. And I'm going to check that record as we go around the room here. But, yeah, this is one that I think is a dangerous game, but it's not one that I necessarily think is like a schedule loss or anything like that.
Well, PJ Tucker said it the other night. just flatly, because PJ just says what's on his mind. I don't like when we get up against teams because we don't do a very good job of protecting leads. And I feel, Jonathan, like that is a potential issue tonight with the way that the Clippers have rallied. It's not just this season either. Last year, they had a ton of comeback wins in the playoffs. I do think Ty Lue has kind of established himself as something more than just a LeBron creation, that he has actually become a pretty damn good coach in the NBA. What concerns you about tonight?
I just feel like their ability to score from many directions. Like over the last 2 weeks, I think they have 5 or 6 guys scoring in double figures. So there's just a lot of ways they can beat you, right? Nick Batum has been playing a little bit better. You mentioned Coffee. You mentioned the other guy, Reggie Jackson, I think has been leading them in scoring over the last couple of weeks. So they have just a lot of ways they could beat you. And when a team is playing with nothing to lose, that's when they're most dangerous because they can just come out, play really free with no pressure, no Paul George, no Kawhi. They really don't have to worry about the image of anybody else because they're expected to lose anyways. So now they can come in, play a little bit freer, and even if they have a large lead to lose, they can treat every game as a growing process, and they're doing that right now. They're getting better as a collective without their 2 main stars, and this is a team that can continue to develop. And once they get their stars back, they could actually be a threat in the West.
Well, the weird thing about the West this year is, again, it's extremely top heavy, and then it's the only reason the Lakers are even still in the mix, Tony, is because once you get past the top 6 and even, number 6 in the West or 5 and 6, Dallas and Denver, till Denver gets healthy, Dallas has been inconsistent. It's not a great conference. I mean, the top 4 are pretty good, but it's not a great conference this year. It does feel, again, like if the Clippers could get one of them back, like they're a team that you wouldn't want to play in the first round, but we don't know if we're getting either of them back.
How scary would it be to face a Clippers team in a play-in with Paul and Kawhi coming back? Minnesota's playing their way back into the West, and they were down pretty big, and that should show you kind of where, the weaknesses are in the bottom of that division. But, the Clippers are a team that are a tale of two cities. You have a 6th overall defensive rating and a 26th overall offensive rating. I mean, they really struggle to score points, but when they're hitting, they're usually hitting from the 3, right? They're 8th in 3-point percentage right now, which is actually kind of surprising because they're really bad offensively. That's what they're going to try and get to tonight. They have good long talent. Amir Coffey he's been playing out of his mind, and he might play his way into a contract if he continues this. But I think this is a switch heavy front tonight, and if we can get into some bodies and make this a 4-quarter game, I don't think they have the horses to really stay with us. I'm more worried, like Greg said, on the second night of back-to-backs than the first. A lot more worried there.
Well, Greg actually just posted the stat. The Heat are 5-2 on the front end, and they're 2-5 on the second night of back-to-backs. I do feel Brady for that reason. There are some who actually kind of hope Jimmy would sit tonight, just to make sure he was fresh for tomorrow. Because I don't know that we love that matchup that they've got tomorrow night because of the length and what they have to deal with. But just to pivot here a little bit, we talk so much about Duncan's struggles, right? And now he's at 42% from 3 over like his last 20 games. Max is struggling a little bit right now. This is kind of ebbs and flows of season, but I feel like we need to address that some. Are you seeing anything from him other than just shots aren't falling? It seems to me he's rushing a little bit lately.
I mean, we kept saying that Duncan needed his center partner, and bam, maybe Max just needs his summer league center partner in Omer. But all jokes aside, I think it is just as simple as a guy that was just warming up a couple feet to my right is Zubac. I think that's what's kind of setting Duncan off here, is that this drop coverage is really just benefiting him at a high level. You look at especially the last game. This is going to be a lot different than the Knicks game because Kemba Walker dying over screens is not going to be the same as this Clippers team because Duncan was just getting wide open looks to begin that game. 6 early points was just basically given to him. This Clippers team is not going to do the same thing, but it's still just the ways. I think this is a game that the drop coverage and the way the Clippers play defense, Duncan's kind of way he goes about things now opens up Bam. And it's something to talk about that it's always one or the other. It seems like every one of these games, this feels like a Bam game to me, that Duncan's kind of gravity that we constantly talk about. These guards are going to be on him, and Bam's going to be getting that entry pass down on after a blitz, and it's going to be on him. So I think that's the part to look at. But to answer your question, it's Max Strus, and the one thing I know about Max Strus is he does not stop shooting ever, and he doesn't think when he shoots. That it's not a mental thing. We're never going to bring up mentals because it's just as simple as him having a good game and then kind of streaming from there.
By the way, if you want to play the Bam thing, he's 15.5 points at Prize Picks. Use the code 5 to sign up and get your initial deposit matched. So you want to throw $100 on Bam as part of a combo. That might be a good way to go tonight. I will say I played PJ Tucker over 7.5 points, and I cannot understand why Prize Picks has not raised that one, because PJ tends to get that in the first quarter. He may not score again, but he tends to get it in the first quarter. We're going to switch the debate here a little bit because, obviously we've talked a little bit about today. We'll get to the picks in a second. But I do feel like we kind of start these debates on Twitter and a daily basis. And today it was the hero thing with Kevin Love, which is the Jackson Frank, who is he seems like a nice guy, but he seems to be like the outside New York. He seems to be the king of bad tweets, based out in Philadelphia. And basically saying, basically as if Kevin Love is the sixth man of the year. I was going through the numbers today, Jonathan, and there is a case to be made for Kevin Love being in the mix. I mean, he has performed well on a team that has overachieved. He's accepted a role that most people didn't think he would accept. And his metrics are good. They are. They're better than I expected. He's shooting 40% from three. And he's still rebounding at a high rate. But I don't understand. It just seems to me like everybody twists themselves in 50 million directions to not pick someone from the Heat. It's the same thing with the coaching situation with Spoelstra. It's the same when you're talking about Bam for all defensive team, right? I mean, or am I missing? Typically, if you average 22 off the bench for a team that's a number one seed, you're going to be the sixth man of the year, except it seems like there's a narrative building that it won't happen now.
Yeah, basically what the mix is right now is everybody else is just fighting for second place behind Tyler Hero. There really is no argument. I'm pretty sure Brady put it out in a tweet. I think he's averaging 7 or 8 more points than Kevin Love. And what he does for this team is not only, score the ball, but his creation this season has been a lot better. The way he's been able to find shooters, his drive and kick, the ability to get to the free throw line a little more consistently. He's doing a lot more than he was last year, and he's just built to his game. So like you said, on top of that, we're the number one seed. They're always just going to try to twist something to make it to where a Heat player doesn't get the award, because Coach Spoelstra has been the best coach for the last 5 or 6 years, if not longer, and he hasn't gotten one of those awards yet. So it really doesn't make any sense. Even going back to the LeBron years, he got first team all defense, and he didn't win defensive player of the year when Marc Gasol got defensive player of the year.
Well, I'm partially responsible for that one, but so we'll skip over that one.
Well, but thanks, Ethan. But you know what I mean. So anyways, there's really no argument. Tyler Hero should be sixth man of the year. He's the best player coming off the bench, and it's not even close.
And by the way,
dirtiest look when I walked in the locker room that day, I will just say, Brady, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to say that if we're talking about Tyler Hero being in all-star conversations and possibly in a week being named to an all-star team, how are we comparing him to Kevin Love, who's just been a solid six-man, and he's had good numbers, and like Jonathan just said, averaging 7 more points. And this is an award that basically goes to the best scorer. So now we're bending it back away from the Jordan Clarksons, and we're going into impact all of a sudden, where it's odd to me that if you're in all-star conversations as a six-man, you're sixth man of the year.
Duh.
Yeah, it typically has been the best scorer, or else Joe Ingles would have won last year because he had more impact than his teammate Jordan Clarkson last season, right? And also, the award is kind of a sham to begin with, because the last 2 years, 2 of the top 3 vote getters were on the same team. Okay, if you go back the previous year, remember when Dragic finished sixth, okay, that year, and you had Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams finishing 1-2 from the same team. I didn't know there was a best 7th man of the year award. But I'm telling you guys, you may think it's crazy. If Kevin Love keeps playing well, I'm telling you that race is going to be tight, because there is a national media contingent that loves Kevin Love. There's a narrative built of guys who accept their roles. There's some who don't like Tyler just because he's a little drippy. I don't know what the hell he was wearing the other night. The best description of what Tyler was wearing the other night was it looked like the grape can of Arizona iced tea, which I think that was, to me, that was number one.
Whoa.
Have you seen that can or that bottle? Like, go to your local quickie.
Tony has that
fit
here in his closet.
I'm about to purchase it. Okay, he looked like a winner and a sixth man. That's what he looked like.
I'm saying I'm saying that was the best of like the 3 million comments I got on that video. I'll go to you, Jonathan. Tony, and then we'll pivot back to Greg here to close. Gabe Vincent as a starter, and now that what is this, game 7? I guess without Lowry, game 6, game 7. I posted up the stats. He's averaging 13 and 5 basically as a starter. He's shooting 39% from 3. Has he exceeded your expectations at this stage?
Oh yeah. Listen, it's very noticeable that Gabe isn't Kyle, right? And I think the way that Kyle affects the game through the passing lanes and the gravity that he applies to teams, he creates more advantages than Gabe does. But Gabe's able to find his game at two levels. And he's able to make all the passes for our offense to run effectively, no matter what kind of scheme we're running, right? So if we're going to attack you, Gabe can run the pick and roll. If we're going to spread you out, Gabe spaces pretty well. I was actually surprised to find out that we're second in the league in 3-point percentage this year. That's pretty crazy. I had no idea. And Gabe's contributing to that. Like you said, his 3-point percentage is through the roof. He's a guy that's held this team down through the hard times, get through the COVID games, and he's exceeded all my expectations.
It is amazing they're second in that, Greg, because we talked about when that would normalize. It does feel like with the number of shooters they have, it should normalize with them in the top 5, not necessarily number 2, but that they're going to have some down games. All right, tonight, we've talked about Bam. We've talked about, controlling Reggie Jackson, who has given the Heat some problems over the years. To you, what would be the one reason they lose tonight? Is it just not shooting well?
Yeah, because both of these teams shoot well. As you mentioned, Miami is second on 3-point percentage. The Clippers are 8th. And this was a really interesting stat that I found. The Heat and the Clippers are two of the lowest paint scoring teams in the NBA, 27th and 28th, respectively. But on the defensive end, the Heat are the best in the NBA at allowing paint points, and the Clippers are 4th worst. So there's the discrepancy is on defense for the Clippers. So I think if there's any recipe for the Clippers to win this game, it's for both teams to take 43s. Miami only hits 15 of them. The Clippers hit 27 of them, and that's their recipe. Other than that, I don't see them winning this game with a ton of rim pressure and stuff like that. It's going to be from downtown, but I may take the over on the game itself, which can be bet at other places. And for my prize pick, I've been giving everyone Miami Heat picks, and I've been watching the comments. Don't think I don't read the comments, y'all. And everyone says Greg always picks the wrong pick. So now I'm going to give you a pick that is not the Heat, and that is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC. Play him over on all his stats right now because he's going crazy, but particularly points at 24.5. That is easy money. I think he's done it 5 out of his last 5 games. So there's your prize pick of the night. And you guys know I'm picking the Heat. Yeah,
everybody should have gotten in on the Lakers picks tonight too, because there's nobody playing for the Lakers tonight. So somebody had to score. I like the Heat tonight. I do think they win tonight. Tomorrow is another matter. I don't feel real comfortable about tomorrow night's game. Again, the second night of a back-to-back thing, and just that particular opponent I think is problematic for them. But I'll just real quick, guys, Tony, Brady, Jonathan, you all have them winning tonight?
Yeah.
Tony, you nervous?
I mean, we're slow as crap. I think we're the second slowest team in the league right now, and they're 6th in defensive rating. So if they're not engaged and active and they're hitting threes, then there's a chance, but Miami victory tonight, baby.
All right. Check out markbrownpa.com. Go get yourself a Biscayne Bay brew. I am not in the arena tonight. I cannot be blamed. Brady, that's the other reason to pick him. What are you right now? 9-2? 9-1?
9 or 10-2. One of those.
Okay. We're going 10-1. Split the difference.
And Alex is there as well. And actually, it'll be the two of them on Saturday as well. Quarterdeck Monday, Davey. Watch party, pace and space at halftime, post up 5R after the game, podcast with me and Greg after the game if he stays up as well. Have a good night, everybody.
Took a nap.
Business in a cost-effective way?
Many others in the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We do not have a paywall, and that's where you can find our articles. And also check out the great sponsors of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. This is one of those sponsors that you don't really think about until you got a problem, okay? So we're going to tell you in advance. It's called Water Cleanup of Florida. If you're a South Florida property owner with an insurance claim, or you're dealing with water, mold, or fire damage, this is the place to go. Reputable, fully licensed, insured, and certified. That's the kind of contractor you need. Water Cleanup of Florida is here for you 24 hours a day. When a disaster strikes in your home or business, you need specialized, fast, and reliable services. Water Cleanup of Florida understands the impact and stress an unexpected disaster may cause. They got over 60 years of combined experience. Michael, Robert, and the rest of the team, they can handle any size disaster. They can help make the cleanup and insurance claim process as painless and hassle-free as possible. They'll handle everything for you. You don't need to bring in another contractor. This is a one-stop shop. So call Michael anytime on his personal cell. That's 954-579-0356, 954-579-0356. Again, that's Water Cleanup of Florida. You can check them out on that website. And as we always say, if you've got the schmutz,
they got the guts.
And now, tonight's episode.
Down the bitch gang. Yeah. 5 on the floor. Ride for my dogs. Where here's the thing. You can check the score. Hustle hard, couple scars. Wearing bubble frauds. Just like Butler said, you in trouble, y'all. Kept the floor playing. Got it all banned. Y'all seen the block. Stop with one hand.